Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Gato and I'm so happy to be back on the Jane's Doodles YouTube channel because I feel like it's been a while. I am back with a Christmas card today and I'm using my favorite florals from Jane's Doodles. These are the winter florals and it has a gorgeous poinsettia in it. It has a pine cone. You can create beautiful wreaths with this. It also has those 3 smaller flowers and I don't know the name of those, but those are the ones I will be using on my card today. Now I stamped plenty of images this time. I am working on Clairefontaine DCP 250 GSM cardstock. This is a nice white cardstock, very easily available in Europe, but I just use it because it's great for alcohol markers, but also for ink blending. Just take your white cardstock that you like to ink blend on for this project, because that's what I'll be doing. I'm going to be embossing these, so I am stamping in Versamark ink. This is clear embossing ink. Any clear embossing ink will work. And I do prep my cardstock with an anti-static powder bag after I have placed my stamps. The stamps might be a little bit sticky or have some leftover ink on them, maybe. That happens to me all the time. So you want to prep your cardstock after you have placed the stamps, and that will get rid of all of that sticky residue that might have been transferred from the stamps to your paper while you were just placing them in. Now, once that is done, I stamped it twice on this one sheet of cardstock. So I just turned it around in my Misti, and then I can add my embossing powder. I am using Wow Gold Rich Pale Embossing Powder. This is a very nice gold, I find. It is more to the yellow than to the red side. I feel like gold switches between those often, and it's a really pretty elegant gold. So I heat set those with my heat embossing tool, and then I can do my ink blending. Now this is really simple, goes really quickly, and that is why I stamped so many images at once. I knew these weren't all going to fit on my card design that I had in mind, but I will have plenty of images left over. It didn't take me any extra time today, really, to do a little bit more of ink blending and to stamp it twice. It was really easy to do, and when I cut them out, I have plenty of images for future projects as well. You can put these on gift tags maybe. I'll definitely be making some gift tags with the poinsettias in the future because I really like those to add to Christmas presents. Now again, I'm focusing more on those tiny flowers because that's the ones I'll be using today. But for the poinsettias, I am just using a very deep red. This is my deepest red ink that I have. And I'm definitely focusing the color in the center and blending it more out towards the edges. I did the same for the smaller flowers, just focusing the color in one area and then blending it out to almost white to the other areas, and that will create a lot of depth to your image in no time at all. Now, more ink blending for the background. For the background, I used an embossing folder by Spellbinders, and the whole panel is embossed. So this is an A2 size panel, but I lined up my panel with my grid mat, and I used the lines on my grid mat to make a mask. So I just used some purple tape, and I used the lines of my grid mat again to line those up nicely so I had an even margin all the way around, and that will create a nice frame. So everything is embossed, and I'm just doing some ink blending in the center. I'm using Concord and 9th inks throughout this video because they have amazing colors, and I heard they are coming out with more. I'm very excited about that, and they just really blend nicely as well. I do like to do the ink blending after I have dry embossed my panel because you'll get a lot of those raised areas that have more ink on them. It just gives you a little bit of a different look. You can definitely ink blend before you emboss if you want a more even ink blend. I'm adhering that panel to my card base with double-sided adhesive, and I do want to note one thing about ink blending on dry embossed backgrounds. If you use masking tape like I did, you want to be very careful because an embossed paper is a lot more fragile than paper before you emboss. The raised areas might have some cracks in it, some really, really tiny cracks that you don't see, but the tape will grab onto them. Even if it's very low tech tape. So to prevent that as much as possible, adhere the tape first on your clothes for a couple of times. So adhere them down, rip them off your clothes, adhere them down again on your clothes. Just do it a couple of times and that will take away some of that tech. It will still work fine for masking off an area, or you can use a rectangle stencil if you have one of those, that might work as well. Just be aware that adhering anything temporarily on an embossed paper is going to be difficult to rip off without tearing your paper. I definitely have a couple of tears in mine. I don't think you can see it on the video, but they're definitely there. And for my little floral arrangement, I took out a couple of basic leaf dies and some sprigs, some winter foliage, I guess, and I adhered those down with glue, and then I am propping up the flowers on some foam tape. I've been making a lot of Christmas cards, so I actually had all of this foliage left over from other projects, and I still have some left over. I also noticed some berries. I wasn't planning on adding them, but the little pops of red really did a lot for this card, so I'm very happy I added them in the end. And I do first adhere all of my foliage, and then I come in with those really tiny die cuts. These are the berries I was talking about. And I am picking those up with a jewel picker and then adhering them down. I'm using Nuvo Deluxe adhesive for this part because I'm adhering on a dimensional element. So I'm adhering on all of those leaves. And that might be a little bit tricky for the Barely Art Precision Craft glue because it's a lot more liquid. So instead of just staying on the leaves, it might seep in between them instead. Now all I'm going to add is some embellishments and 2 sentiment strips. I am using a sentiment from the Wild Winter stem set, which is adorable, and the Hot Cocoa stem set as well. Both of these are from Jane's Doodles, and I really, really like her Christmas stem sets. They are so, so adorable and very unique. Those animals on their jet ski, I love them. I hope that I get to make another card with them soon. Both of those stem sets will also be linked in the description below, along with the Winter Floral stem set if you want to get those. They're just great Christmas stem sets. I am adhering those sentiment strips onto some foam adhesive, and I emboss these in white onto gold cardstock. So it fits the florals. It's a gold that matches my embossing powder nicely. Yeah, I really like how this turned out. I hope you like it too. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read them. You can also subscribe to the Jane's Doodles YouTube channel. I should be back a couple of more times this month with more videos for you. But you can also check out my own channel. It should be up on the video now to subscribe. So yeah, I hope you check those out. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.